Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So, back from my holiday, I went down to the southeastern Queensland. I was supposed to go on a cruise. It was actually going to be the last cruise for P&O because they got bought out or something like that. I didn't keep much notice of what was going on. The whole thing got cancelled because of that ridiculous storm, Alfred. So anyway, I ended up just having a holiday down the sunny coast. It was a good time. I still had a great time. Went and visited Australia Zoo again. It was good. It was it's funny. I just seen at Australia Zoo. Obviously, I saw the area where they keep the wombats, and then you saw that story, that silly, ridiculous story with the American Instagram Instagram influencer. It's funny how everyone's called an influencer because she's got like 96,000 followers and that's the first every story that talks about her. It always leads with 96,000 followers on Instagram. So okay, whatever. But that's her claim to fame. That doesn't make her a smart woman at all. Okay, and you see all the excuses she's coming up with, and now she's blaming the Australian government. She's opened up this the Australia Coles site. I think it's on X. You see her talking about, well, I did this, but the Australian government is so much worse because it allows the culling of millions of wombats and horses and blah blah blah, which is generally just not true. It's just not true. But it just made everything. It the irony didn't wasn't lost to me when I was watching this, and then you get home and you're seeing, watching the wombats in their enclosure at Australia Zoo, and then you're seeing this story about this ridiculous influencer. Anyway, still had a great time. The weather was a bit rubbish at first, but it turned out pretty good in the end. Mooloolaba, great spot to be if you can't be on your cruise to tropical islands. You might as well go to Mooloolaba. Anyway, a friend of mine sent me this story. Okay, and it's about good old Shane Pryor and the Queensland Police Union leader. And he is ringing the warning bell, ringing the alarms. According to him, police officers are going to be leaving Queensland Police in droves, and it's all about the money. Remember, this is the same leader from the Queensland Police Union who had said, it was it last year, the year before now, about how the way to get more people, more young people to want to join Queensland Police Service is to offer them money and lifestyle. It's all about money and lifestyle with Shane Pryor. And yet again, he's showing us it's all about money and lifestyle. So, look, we'll check out what he's got to say. This article, I make my blood boil, tell you. Okay, it says in the article, Queensland police officers will quit in droves if Premier David Crisafulli does not offer public servants a better pay deal, as the police union warns cops are burnt out from being on the front line of the new LNP government's tough on crime agenda. It's funny, I read this line and I thought, so does that mean it's specifically because police are going out and being tough on crime, actually, doing what they're paid to do, that they're getting burnt out? Because that's what the article seems to be implying. Whereas beforehand, when they weren't being tough on crime, people weren't burnt out. It's just a weird way to say it, I suppose. The Australian can reveal the Crisafulli government this week formally offered the state's public servant, this is actually last week's, including nurses, police, and teachers, a 3% pay rise in 2025, followed by 2.5% annually in 2026 and 2027. An enterprise bargaining negotiation as enterprise bargaining negotiations heat up. So already workers are furious at the opening offer, which includes the potential for an inflation adjustment of up to 0.5% in the first year and 1% in the second 2 years. Queensland Police Union General President Shane Pryor said that the offer had stoked very deep anger, very deep anger and resentment among his 13,330 members, and that police interstate had been offered pay rises of up to 5% a year. This is what he says. They'll be walking out the door in droves. Walking out the door in droves. This is what Shane Pryor says. Walking out the door in droves if this offer stands, Pryor said. If you've got a neighbouring state that is getting offered 19% over 4 years, and their colleagues here in Queensland are seeing other jurisdictions receiving a bigger pay rise than them, they'll simply go to another state. Simply. It's that easy. They'll simply go to another state. The hyperbole. Seriously, he is prone to exaggeration. So I'm going to go on with this. What else Shane Pryor has to say? I think this is disingenuous at best. Remember, Shane Pryor was the one pushing for recruits who are interested in lifestyle and money. But what happens if you've got recruits that all they're interested in is lifestyle and money? Well, then the very first instance, when things get hard and they're not getting the pay rise that they want, well, then what he's saying is they're all going to pull the pin, because all they were in there for is lifestyle and money. And disingenuous to say that they'll just simply go to another state. As someone who has moved to another state, it is not that easy. Melbourne, Sydney, they are a lot more expensive to live in than Queensland, even more expensive than Brisbane, a lot more expensive. And who wants... Most police that I met, that I knew, that I worked with, a vast majority of them owned their own home. They're not going to just simply get up and go to another state. It's not that easy. And don't be so disingenuous in what you're saying. Police, you are still, all these unions, remind yourselves, you're still getting a pay rise. There are so many people in the private sector that are not getting any pay rise. Some people, their wages are actually going down. They're not getting a pay rise. So this just, it infuriates me. And this is the same Shane Pryor. He's the same man that was sitting there in the consultation room when the former police commissioner, Katarina Carroll, and the former police minister, Mark Ryan, came up with their little scheme about the vaccine mandates. And he was there backing the scheme, saying, yep. And I never heard him put out any article saying, well, if you do this, police are going to leave in droves. And I know this for a fact because when I did my interview and other police officers were treating me like a criminal and asking me, hey, Jason, you're a senior constable. This is where you work. Why aren't you going along with the mandates? Good old Shane Pryor was sitting right next to me on my right-hand side. He was my support officer because he was obviously in the union. Didn't say a word. There was no real support. The reason why he wasn't actually being supportive, other than sitting next to me, was because he'd made the deal. He was part of the deal, which brought in the vaccine mandates, and he wasn't saying a single word when it came to concerns that police would be leaving when it came to the vaccine mandates. Police who were concerned about their health. Police were concerned that, this is what human rights say, and you shouldn't be forcing people to have a medical procedure. There was nothing out of Shane Pryor back then. But when it comes to money, remember, the man who was pushing new recruits want lifestyle and money, then he's all up in arms. Then it's like, hey, we've got to do something about this. Anyway, I'll keep going on. He says, I have grave concerns given that we have seen at least 40 general duties police officers leave the job this year, that if we do not have a successful EB this year, we're going to see a significant reduction of police in this state. Police are burnt out, in particular around domestic violence and family violence issues. Pryor said the LNP's election commitments, including reducing youth crime, the government's agenda is based on law and order. In order to achieve this reduction in victim numbers, they're going to need police on the front line doing that very hard work they do every day. And two things to achieve this is fixing domestic and family violence legislation and delivering an enterprise bargaining agreement that will incentivize members to stay in the job and encourage people to join the Queensland Police Service. There's other things about other unions. Look, this one here, it goes on to say Queensland Council of Union General Secretary Jacqueline King said the offers don't pass muster. It is understood some unions were considering protected industrial action after Ms. King in January foreshadowed mass rolling strikes at schools and hospitals if pay rises were not sufficient. How do you like that? So if we don't get the money that we want, then we're going to endanger the lives of young children? That's basically what they're saying. They're making a threat, saying, "Well, we're going to carry out industrial action." What's it say? Foreshadowed mass rolling strikes at schools and hospitals. So they are willing to endanger the lives of children and people in hospitals if they don't make the money that they want to make. That's, in a nutshell, what she's saying. Like I said, Shane Pryor, he didn't say anything. He was part of the consultation team when it came to when it came to the vaccine mandates. Then he was good with that. If you're a police officer in Queensland, it doesn't take very long until you are making six figures. It doesn't take very long at all. You don't have to do any assignments, anything else extra now before you go up to being a senior constable. It used to be that you had to do like university style assignments and this kind of thing before you could actually go up to being a senior constable. So, if you were kind of a lazy person, you really didn't care, or if you weren't really studious, or you weren't that way inclined, to be studying, or even just good at doing assignments in general, it could be that you just didn't go up to being a senior constable. But now, once you're in there for a certain amount of time, you automatically go up to being a senior constable. Once you're a senior constable, it doesn't take very long. Generally, what is it, about 2.3, 2.2 pay rate when you're at that 2.2 level. I think you're making, it's been a while since I've been in there now, but you're making over 100,000, which is still more than most Queenslanders are making these days. And Queensland police officers need to be realistic. It's not that easy to just get out of policing and then just be making the same kind of money somewhere else. And Shane Pryor to be saying, well, it's easy, they'll just go to another state. Very disingenuous indeed. If not, just a flat out lie. It's not that easy. Anyone who's ever moved knows it's not that easy, let alone moving to another state. And you're really going to go and move to flipping Melbourne just because they're getting a bigger pay rise than you? Let's go down and, pay an extra $300,000 for my house just because I'm getting an extra 5% in my pay. Let's not forget that Shane Pryor is the instigator of the let's get new recruits in by who want lifestyle and money. So let's just pay them more to get new recruits in. It hasn't worked if all you're going to get is people who are just interested in making money and lifestyle. then you get the problems that we've had for the last couple of years. Then, I mean, let's look at it. We've had more police shooting civilians than any other state. It's because our recruitment has decided that we want people who are just interested in lifestyle and money. We've got so many issues with Queensland police officers because this is the line that they went down. Let's go after people who just want to chase after money instead of getting the best people for the job, people who can handle the stress and the responsibility, people who are able to think about more than just lifestyle and money, and people who want to actually serve their community. And if you're an officer in the Queensland Police Service, it's not definitely not easy to leave the Queensland Police and go out and land a job where you are earning the same money that, and you have the same benefits. Trust me, I know. I've had to do it. It is very hard. It's easy enough to get a job, but it's hard to get a job where you've got the same perks and the same money, the same benefits, where you get the same kind of holiday benefits, where you get the same, actually, you don't get the same superannuation benefits, that's for sure. So let's not kid ourselves. And if all you want to do is recruit people who are just interested in lifestyle and money, well, yeah, they're going to leave in droves. And if all you're going to do is get police who aren't really, or who are only enforcing law and order, who are only being tough on crime because they're getting paid what they want to get paid, if that's all they're in it for, well, then, yeah, they're going to get burnt out because they don't really care about serving the community. And if these unions would threaten basically the Queensland public by saying they're going to have these rolling strikes in around schools and hospitals, when, it's just, in fact, endangering the lives of ordinary Queenslanders, well, they just don't deserve their jobs in the first place. This whole article is pathetic. Shane Pryor still doesn't impress me. But anyway, let me know what you think. I think it's pretty pathetic. My name's Jay Fallon. This is all my opinion. And thank you for listening to The Slippery Slope. Please let me know what you think and check out my music on Spotify and Apple iTunes.